Oh, is there a new Barbie trailer? Oh no, that's a month ago.
New Barbie trailer.
I don't know. I'm intrigued by it.
Right, I'm not going to monitor the live stream because my phone battery's about to die and I haven't got the tablet on me. So
fine, I'll monitor it then.
Not that there's going to be anything interesting there, unless Laura's in there or Darren might.
No, she's not. I don't think she's on. I think she's trying to put the kids to bed.
Okay.
Chloroform will be helps.
I don't know. I don't think that's legal nowadays.
Did you see the picture I put on the Grid Talk Slack car of
which one?
Darren's kid.
No.
On the checkered flag.
No.
I did put that on Grid Talk, didn't I, Tom?
I'll have a look.
I don't remember seeing it.
So basically, I was trying to find it. This will be a special for the YouTubers. Right. So at the race, they had Florence Pugh did the checkered flag. So that went up on ESPN.
I did see, yes.
And if you zoom in, I don't know if you'll see it on here. That name on the checker flag says Ben Apps, which is Darren's son, and he bought it as a present for him.
Do they get to keep that as well, don't they?
Yeah, they cut it out and send it to him, and they frame it. But it's a present for Ben, but he didn't know he was getting it, and I sent that to Darren just to be like, "Oh, there you go, saw it on the checker flag." That's pretty cool.
That is cool. How much is that? That's like it's only 200 quid or something.
Is it really? I have no idea.
I don't think it's a huge amount of money. Like I know it's a big amount of money, but I don't think it's a huge.
It's cool when you get like a visual like that on TV and on social media of a celebrity waving it, and you can physically see the name on it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Because he said to me, "Oh, you might see the name on the checkered flag," and I was like, "Yeah, all right, whatever." And then when I saw that picture, I was like, "I'm going to see if I can see his name." I was like, "Fuck me, I actually can see his name."
It's like, oh.
Awesome. Cool. Right. Yeah. Well, in typical Monkeyseat way, we're just going to busk this and not even bother with any prep whatsoever and just go in like a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah, well, Tom wasn't meant to be on. Now here's Tom.
Yeah, Owain's been waiting to come on for about 5 weeks. Owain's been waiting to come on for about 5 weeks. Yeah. I keep meaning to ask.
Sorry, mate. In my defense, Cole did ask.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. It's fine. It's not a problem.
Yeah. To be fair, you were going on about live reaction. I was like, come on, ours and do it.
Yeah. All right. Fuck it.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Carding in progress.
Max Verstappen has taken the check.
Letting fly here. Just driving the bottom.
That was absolutely brilliant. No, Sergio Perez is giving it everything. Oh, no, Max. That was so not right. Unbelievable stuff.
So overrated.
To each other. Go Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez. Bottas took out
You need to get some tape.
And at the back, that's George Russell out of this race. Daniel Ricciardo makes contact there with Kevin.
How much were they?
Contact.
No, Christian Preston. The honey badger is back.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Rick
Great
De-Vries.
reaction. Great reaction, guys.
Yeah. Nick De-Vries is dead. I'm wearing his hat in honor. The only bit of motorsport memorabilia I actually own, and it's on my head currently, and it's now defunct. It's pointless.
And you now
like De-Vries.
Top of your list of hatred now is back to George Russell.
Oh,
assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing changes.
I feel sorry for him.
Yeah. Who? Nick De-Vries?
No, George Russell for being top of your head.
Oh right. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like Sheldon Cooper. I've got a blacklist of people, mortal enemies, and George Russell was one of them. Nick De-Vries has now been scrubbed off because I can't be a mortal enemy to someone that doesn't exist in the public eye.
Yeah.
Until he's never going to return. So
Eagle Eyes and Eagle Ears listening and watching to this podcast will notice the dulcet tones of a beautiful Welshman in the background. Hello, Tom. How are you?
Hello, I'm all right. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I'm tired and I'm
Yeah, well, that's why I brought Tom on tonight because, like,
I can just go to sleep in the corner now. That's done,
and we've got this right.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all fine. So Tom is joining us straight off the back of a Grid Talk reaction podcast with George Howson a few minutes ago. We are going to review the British Grand Prix in the way that only we can. But we're also going to do, I think we're going to start. Should we start with the reaction to the news? And
so you've got to, look, there's very little time you get to play your jingle. So play it.
Go on then. Let's do it. Oh, mouse is in the wrong place.
Oh, Jesus.
There we go.
There we go. There we go.
Breaking news.
The honey badger's in and De-Vries is out. That sort of got released about 3:00 today, although lots of newspapers were saying about 2:00 today.
But that was the Daily Mirror.
And the Independent, weirdly.
Formula Nerds or something, I think, or another Facebook group I saw it on. But I think that was all kind of very unconfirmed at that point. But when the team announced it, it's like, yeah, okay, fair enough. That's I can't deny that's happening now.
Yeah,
I'm still surprised it didn't. They did it now. But what do you think is the motivation behind it? Because my personal feeling is that that team is not going anywhere right now. That's not going to change by putting Ricciardo in the seat. I think they are assessing him to decide what they're going to do about a certain Mexican next season.
I think it's, in my opinion, it's De-Vries is shit. So let's at least put someone else in that's on the payroll, who's sat there doing sweet feckle. Yeah, for people that aren't watching, Tom has 2 beer mats, one that's Perez beer or something, Perez extra, and one that has Ricciardo's lager, and they're currently fighting. Anyway,
if you flip them over, rivalry for the ages. Norris and Verstappen.
There we go.
It's coming. But
we'll get into that. But yeah, I think he's just shit, and that's the reason. And he's gone. And yeah, I'm not actually sad about it. I don't think he didn't show any potential in that car. And you can say how much, it's the car's shit. Yeah, go and tell Alex Albon that. Do you know what I mean?
It's not a shit car.
It's not a great car, let's be honest, either.
Yuki still scored points.
Yuki
2, but it's 2 points, and De-Vries never showed any real signs of improving.
I think the question really is like this new Yuki Tsunoda we've seen this year that's been absolutely putting him to bed. Is it a much improved Yuki Tsunoda, or is this same Yuki Tsunoda as last year, and it's just De-Vries is that far off what Gasly was to offer?
This will be found out next weekend.
Potentially. Certainly. Well, I think it's
going to take a few races.
Yeah. The races.
But can you imagine if Ricciardo comes in and just wipes Tsunoda's ass?
The next 2 races before the summer break, they're write-offs. I think that's why they've done it now, so they can give Ricciardo a couple of races in it to then take stock over the summer break and then see what happens in the second half of the season. That's when we've got to judge him based on that. And if he is, he should be, with his experience and the fact that he's a multiple race winner and finished 3rd in the championship one year, he should be putting Yuki Tsunoda down. Like, not at first, but by the end of the year, he should be at a much higher level than Yuki Tsunoda. If he doesn't, then I don't think he will be even considered for that Red Bull drive, if that is indeed why they're doing this, which is my personal opinion of it, because we all know my personal feelings on the Sergio Perez's performances. I think that's probably what they are looking to do.
But who knows what the fuck is going on in Helmut Marko's one-eyed mind.
Well, he's just an advisor, isn't he? He doesn't actually hold any real power.
I don't think he's advising anything at the minute, to be honest.
No. Apart from the photographers to where he can stand.
Yeah, that was quite funny.
His elbows out. He really has been teaching Verstappen a few moves, hasn't he?
Yeah. So I think that's I don't think in the last few races De-Vries has been doing. I think he has definitely been better in the last few races. Not so much this race.
He was definitely better at Austria.
Yeah, and I think his performances generally have been on a slight upward trend. I do still think they picked the wrong Mercedes EQ world champion from Formula E, to be honest, because for me, Stoffel van Dorn was the better option out of the two. Far more F1 experience. If you looked at the performances in Formula E of Stoffel van Dorn, he massively outperformed De Vries in De Vries' World Championship year, but it was just because Formula E and the way their qualifying system worked at the time and everything else involved in the championship. It's it being just so crazy that it's very much like, you know, he was getting taken out of races and not considered in races that and wasn't getting good results in races where he really was outperforming what De Vries was doing, but De Vries was the one that was racking up the points. So I think that Van Dorn was always the better option in that seat, and yet he gets an Aston Martin reserve drive, which is
is this going to kick into silly season now? Do you reckon? Is this the start of silly season?
I don't think so, because I don't think there's much silly season to be had this year, because a lot of drivers are under contract. The thing will be is
he was under contract.
Yes, I know.
Nick De Vries was under contract.
But this is what I was saying. Unless people start getting axed from their contracts, and you know, like if Hamilton were to suddenly retire, and then all of a sudden, you know, Leclerc's sniffing after that seat, you know, then I can see things happening then. But I think if everything happens the way it should happen, I don't think we're going to see a massive influx in silly season. I think that's going to come in 25, 26.
Do you think Mick's chair is safe?
Mick
Schumacher.
Oh,
as reserve driver.
Well, yeah, he's safe in that role.
Nick's not going to go sniffing back, bearing in mind that he's Toto Wolff's like love child.
No, that's done. That's done and dusted. I think, you know, they were trying to get Nick into F1. They got him into F1. He had his opportunity, and that's it. They might offer him a reserve role if one comes up, but no, I think Mick's in there for the year, and I think he's, from what it seems to be happening, it seems to be doing a pretty decent job. So
some drivers are just better suited to being, you know, a tester reserve or development or whatever driver.
Yeah, when he's not in that race scenario. Yeah, I think it's probably is a good role for him. And maybe after doing that for a couple of years, there could be a midfield seat that becomes available. And I wouldn't be against seeing Mick Schumacher in Formula One again.
I think he'd end up in Williams once Albon moves.
Where would Albon go?
Could be
well, according to the F1 Chronicle, they were talking. I mean, that's cited as there's talk about him going to, or rumor about him chatting to Fred Vasseur, and there was chat about him talking to Stroll or someone, wasn't it, in Aston? I can't remember. There is a bit of.
Well, surely that's only going to be when Alonso goes, and Alonso's got 2 years with an option of a third. So
it's the Ferrari seat is an interesting one, possibly not for Ferrari, but for the Alfa Romeo. What was Alfa Romeo, not Alfa Romeo now, whatever they're going to rename it.
Well, there'd be no links. There's no links really with Ferrari and Alfa Romeo. They're a pure customer now.
No, yeah. So it's Haas, isn't it?
It's Haas
in the Haas, and
it would only be Haas realistically.
And he's not going to go back there. But then he's in the Merc world, so now that opens Williams and McLaren if Norris vanishes.
Yeah, I mean, Albon will be a good shout.
There's a lot of. It's a bit of a. Yeah.
I don't see any driver moves happening this year. Unless someone unexpectedly announces their retirement, you know, such as Hamilton, which I don't think will happen. I think he'll extend his contract.
Yeah, substantially.
Yeah.
The only thing, like, it's Sargent. I think Williams are going to stick with Sargent. I think there's two smaller sample sizes. They admit that he's in a year too early, to be honest. So I don't think they're expecting much from him. Tsunoda is an interesting one. I think he's done enough to keep his seat, but I guess it just depends on what Ricciardo does. If Ricciardo comes in and puts the manners on him, then his might not be safe. Haas have said
I don't think Schumacher will. Yeah. Well, Haas's drivers are the right drivers. They're not the greatest drivers. They're right drivers for Haas.
They're fine for that team.
Yeah.
Fine for that team. Zhou is a possibility. Audi might want a different driver.
I think at some
point.
Bearing in mind,
Audi makes sense with the German and for Mick Schumacher.
Yeah,
there is a link there.
Yeah, and bearing in mind Audi aren't taking over until 2026, I think.
Yeah, but they're putting
But
money
they
in
have
now.
some say over 2024, don't they?
Yeah, well, they're putting money in now. This year, money is going in. Alfa Romeo are operating at the budget cap for the first time this year, and that's because of Audi backing. So it's really weird.
It's still shit.
When does budget cap world start kicking on?
As in, like, budget cap recognition day.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that this year. They make a big thing of it every year.
Yeah.
Like a drum
it's
roll,
like it is literally like the UK budget, isn't it? It's like
they should like
what shitstorm's going to happen this year.
They should get like Carol Vorderman to come in and give or Rachel Riley and like talk about like the maths behind the budget cap, and then pull a driver's name up on the screen or a team's name up on the screen, and then put a drum roll and they have spent 142 million. Get a big round of applause.
Of course, and then Red Bull has spent. Oh no, let's not go there. But I say that as a Red Bull fan, so
yes. Cool. Okay, so quick word then, Carl. Good thing or bad thing? Ricciardo back in F1 and De-Vries out.
De-Vries out is good. Ricciardo in is bad. So it's a 50-50 for me. I don't think Ricciardo should be in that seat. I think there's other better drivers possibly that.
Who?
Personally.
Who?
His name? Well, Mick Schumacher for starters. I would also, there's Lawson. There's a few F2 drivers, but obviously that's the problem. I mean, look, Giovinazzi, I'd even throw in.
I wouldn't put Giovinazzi in over.
No,
but you know what? I wouldn't put them in that car, but I would say suggest them possibly better than the old man Ricciardo now.
Tom?
I think De Vries, he made his own bed, didn't he? I think he did need to go, but not right now. I don't think Danny Rick coming in is going to. Why would you take a McLaren who was why would you take a driver who was sacked from McLaren for being too slow? It's like it's not really helping. And I know Red Bull saying, "Oh, he's putting in times in your simulator." Yeah, well, let's put him in a shit car on the track and see how he does. Because even when he had a half decent one after he left Red Bull, did all right to Renault, then got found out when he joined McLaren. It's like, I don't know. It's good for the sport because everybody's
a character.
And part of me wonders. I talked about this with George earlier. Is Darth Helmet has come out and said that AlphaTauri are definitely going to be rebranded. They're going to get sold, mate. It's like
no, I don't think they're going to get sold. I think they're going to be rebranded and re-advertised, and then it's going to have a total sponsor that's slowly going to blur in. It's going to be what should have happened if Rich Energy took over Haas. Do you know what I mean? It would have been, had Rich Energy had the money, that would have turned into a Rich Energy racing team. Can you tell what book I've been listening to this week?
Let's not even associate Rich Energy with this, because I'd rather
the Rich Energy Red Bull Toro Rosso team.
But I think it will be rebranded as and re-advertised as another company. Helsinki Chocolate or whatever.
No, it's not going to be that. It's going to be rebranded. It's going to be rebranded to Andretti.
Yeah. But I think it needs a title sponsor to then be rebranded to Andretti and look, it's a failure. So here's a title sponsor. We've already funded it. Now have it.
Just in time for 2026.
Yeah, exactly that.
And it'll then be a customer team of Red Bull powertrains.
Yeah. Yeah, and that'll be part of the deal.
Yeah.
It has to be a Red Bull customer train.
Well, that wouldn't be Andretti then, because Andretti have got the whole Cadillac thing, haven't they? And then the part deal with Renault. So it'd be a customer Renault engine with a Cadillac badge on it for the first couple of years until Cadillac figure out how to build an F1 engine.
What, that Tag Heuer that was in the Red Bull for 2018?
Same deal basically, except Cadillac or GM Motors would actually be building a Formula One engine at some point, allegedly.
It could go the other way, where they go, okay, here Cadillac have this failing team, but you have to supply the engines back to RBR. And
maybe,
create an RBR. instead of them having to be an engine manufacturer, which they really don't want to be, they're doing it out of sort of a necessity.
But back to
one will supply them.
Back to the subject at hand there. I think Ricciardo deserves another crack, just one.
Yeah, but I not halfway through a season.
No, and that's what I mean. I think the Ricciardo move is a good thing if they are doing what I said and they're assessing him for the Red Bull drive. If it's just for him to come back and have another crack at Formula One in a crap car, then no, because he's just going to be at the back, might pick up a few points towards the end of the season if drama happens, and that's not going to do anything for him. So if he's genuine, if they're like, look, do the rest of the season in the AlphaTauri, no pressure, and then we'll have a look, and then we'll make a decision at the end of the year between you and Perez. Then if that's the deal, and if that's the conversation, I think it's a good thing, because Red Bull need to do something, because in a championship where there is a clear second fastest team that's closer to the Red Bull, they ain't winning the Constructors' Championship with Perez in their car, because every other team that's anywhere near them, I would say Red Bull have got the biggest difference in performance between their two drivers of anyone except for maybe Williams. So maybe Williams, and you could say AlphaTauri as well, to be fair. But Nick De-Vries was only as far off Tsunoda as Perez is off Verstappen, if not less. So that's why I think if it's that, then I think it's a good thing. If it's not, if it's just him coming in just to have another go at Formula One in a crap car, then no, I don't think it's worth it.
But then why would they have got rid of De-Vries?
Yeah,
that's the thing.
That's the question.
If they're warming him up, and that's why they've done it mid-season.
Yeah, that's generally what I think now.
So I think if you are right, I think you are right, Tom. I genuinely think you are.
Yeah.
But then the question is, who do they throw into that seat next year?
Well, that's Helmut Marko's problem next year. They've got Liam Lawson obviously doing well in Super Formula. I've not seen his results recently. I know he started very well. Iwasa in F2 is decent. He's in the championship hunt as well. I've not actually been able to keep up with F2 as much as I normally do this year, unfortunately. But I know Iwasa's still in the championship fight, so that he's a good shout as well. And they do have so many other drivers in that they could put in, but none of them have really proved themselves.
None of the Red Bull Juniors are like absolutely setting the world on fire.
No, they don't have a Leclerc or Russell, or that.
Yeah, or Verstappen.
What a shame they don't have a Russell.
Yeah, so I don't think I lose any sleep over that.
However, I've said this multiple times about the Red Bull driver program. The best driver to come out of the Red Bull driver program is Carlos Sainz, because Verstappen and Vettel didn't come through as a result of the driver program. Red Bull,
neither did Ricciardo.
Red Bull paid some money to BMW to help develop Sebastian Vettel, but BMW developed Sebastian Vettel.
And wasn't Max at Merck?
Yes, well, Max was a free agent. And he was talking to Mercedes, and he was part of their program. He was never part of the Red Bull program, and they basically, Red Bull wanted him, Mercedes wanted him. They're both bidding for his contract. He was a free agent, a bit like Piastri situation. Mercedes said, go to Williams for a couple of years, and then you might be in a Mercedes after that. Red Bull said, you can have a Toro Rosso seat next year. So he signed for Toro Rosso, signed for the Red Bull driver program, and went straight into the Toro Rosso seat. So he did not come through the driver academy. Ricciardo came through the academy, genuinely. Sainz came through the academy. Albon came through the academy.
I didn't think Ricciardo did.
Yeah, Ricciardo did. Yeah, Ricciardo was. He was on loan to HRT and then got into the Toro Rosso.
That's right. I thought he came in by HRT. I didn't realize something.
Yeah, no, he was on loan to them probably because he had Red Bull livery helmet when he was there. So it's Ricciardo and Sainz are the most successful drivers to come through the Red Bull Driver Academy. So anyone that says that, Red Bull have done so much for drivers in Formula One, they haven't really brought a couple of drivers in. They've given people opportunities, but then they've probably sacked them.
Albon, De Vries, the list is starting to amount.
Yeah.
And that's just the two that I know. Not knowing anyone else.
Well, there's loads more. You got Kvyat, you've got Speed, you've got Jean-Eric Verne.
Sorry, there was a guy called Speed.
Scott Speed.
Antonio Felix da Costa.
Scott Speed.
Pato O'Wards. Antonio Liuzzi. There's so many.
Well, Pato O'Wards doing all right in IndyCar, but yeah.
He is, but he was
under McLaren now.
Yeah, he was dropped. This is the point. He was dropped by Red Bull. Sainz was just. I mean, to be fair, they wanted to keep Sainz. They wanted to keep Ricciardo, but they weren't able to offer them what they needed, which was a Red Bull drive.
Yeah.
So, well, Ricciardo had a Red Bull drive, but he didn't have preferential treatment over Verstappen for obvious reasons.
Yeah, and it's like Sainz kept Verstappen, and I know Max was very young when he came to it. He's still only like 25 now, bear in mind. But Sainz kept.
No, he's retiring in 8 years' time when he's 33 or something. I was like, "Fuck my life."
I know, yeah. It's just like,
gone over that mountain.
Yeah.
I still think I'm going to make it to F1 because Fernando Alonso is older than me, so I could still make it to F1. There's still a Formula One driver that's older than me, so there's still time.
Yeah, there's another F1 driver who I think you're technically old enough to be their dad.
And your point being?
There's quite a few that are old enough.
I'm sure Jos Verstappen
Hang
thinks
on.
you can still cut it in a Formula One car.
You couldn't touch it to begin with.
No. Or Jan Magnussen.
Anyone over anyone under 25. So there's quite a few of them.
Yeah, half the field could be my child.
Which love child would you have? Which racing child is yours?
Saw a great picture of Lando Norris in 2014 with Lewis Hamilton. It was so cute.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't with Lewis Hamilton. It was with Verstappen.
No, I saw one with Lewis Hamilton.
All right, there's one with Verstappen as well.
It was definitely 2014 because they had like 2014 Autosport Awards written behind them or something.
Oh yeah, that's a bit of a giveaway.
Yeah,
there's a picture with Verstappen and Lando floating around.
I've seen that one. Yeah,
I've seen that
where
one.
he looks really young.
There was another one. Was it? It had. Who was it? It had Piastri, Norris, and Verstappen all together, and they said this is the starting three for the British Grand Prix, and they were all like little children, like you'd expect them to have Legos out, that kind of. But they're all similar age. They're also very.
And that picture's from about 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's the thing. Piastri's the youngest out of the three, but Norris is what 23 now.
23.
Yeah,
23.
He was only about 19 when he came into F1.
Yeah, I think it was 18 when he came in actually.
Yeah,
was very young.
Should we do what
Let's
I think
talk about
happens?
the British Grand Prix? Yeah. Go on then, Carl. What do you think happened in the British Grand Prix?
So, shockingly, Lando Norris is in second place in the qualifying, and my bet is he's going to have a shit start. Russell on the softs, hoping for a safety car. Is the mediums thinking rain? Will rain come? There's lots of talk about rain. I'm very bored of talking about the rain because it never will come. But anyway, here's start. And I eat my words. What a great start from Lando. Piastri, great start as well. Trying to make it up. Can't quite make it up into second, but a great start from him. What's going on? Something's happening in Cops. The track's really dirty. I have no idea what happened there. I think there must have been something else on the track, but they look like a load of stuff flying on. Lap 2, Leclerc is all over Piastri. Lap 3, DRS in play. Lando leading will get fecked. Yep, Lando landing does get fecked as per the plan. And in lap 5, Piastri pulled away from Leclerc, and there was quite a big gap. Hamilton and Alonso having a big ruckus. Some gap between the McLaren and the Ferrari. They seemed like it was the Red Bull and the Ferrari, the Red Bull and two McLarens were just miles away from everyone, seemingly. And for the whole race, there was at least 2 seconds for most of the race between them. Subject, obviously, the changes in what happened with Hamilton. Hamilton gets Alonso. Ocon is out in lap 10. He just retired hydraulics or something. Why is Leclerc pitting? It's lap 19. Why pit? Okay. I'm enjoying this, but it's calmed at lap 27. Oh, fire! That's another Ferrari engine got up in flames. There seems to be a running thing with Ferrari engines on this thing. VSC. Okay, no, full lap, full safety car on lap 34. And the stupid pit stop game that I hate of being able to dive into the pits early or not being it drives me potty. Anyway, Lando on hards. Lando on hards? What the fuck's that about? Right. For the next 20 laps, I just enjoyed it. I can't deny it. I put my phone down. Yeah, but it did include Gasly being whacked by Stroll. McLaren's holding out on the hards somehow. The softs not really coping on the Merc. Albon defending and fighting like a king against the Ferraris, like such a great drive. Anyway, Verstappen winning. It wasn't a mad speed ahead. used to seeing 12 seconds ahead. So it was interesting. He was only 2.5 seconds ahead by the time we finished. Norris in second, and then Hamilton in third due to pits, swapperoos, and Russell down in fifth, thinking he was going to get the third, which was quite nice. There we go. Quite a short one for me.
Yeah, that is quite short for you, actually. So I mean, I don't think we need to talk about Verstappen at all. Yeah, like the only thing Verstappen had to worry about was obviously not getting passed by Piastri going through the first corner, and getting past Lando Norris cleanly, and not wrecking his tyres in the final stint because those softs weren't very good.
No.
Only Russell, who was managing for the entire first stint, was able to make those tyres work. Everyone else struggled on them.
Yeah.
So that's done and dusted. Max Verstappen done. Right.
So Ferrari, being Ferrari, I thought they fecked it.
Yeah, I thought
they didn't feck the pits. I thought they fecked the pit stops, and weirdly they didn't.
Yeah. I thought they were going to luck into. I thought they were going to luck into a really good strategy. But they somehow managed it. Well, Carlos Sainz, they had the results on a golden platter handed to them, and they said, "No, we don't need that. We're going to do our own thing." So
which went well.
Yeah, it did not go well. Don't come in; you'll lose 3 places. But if I stay out, I'll lose 3 places anyway. Okay, right. Lost 4, in fact. So yeah. I mean, again, in hindsight, we don't know. We don't know if Sainz had come in, if those tyres would have worked, because everyone was just assuming the softs were going to work really well because Russell did so well on them. But as soon as anyone put any pressure through them, as we saw from Hamilton up the front, they were cooked. They were cooked in 2 laps. So and
then he had to cool down for 2 laps, and then
there wasn't enough time to let them, get back into the window to push again. So I think George Russell did a lot for the race because his long stint on the softs made everyone think the soft was a viable race tyre.
But he wasn't pushing. I don't think he was pushing.
No, it wasn't. He wasn't.
And he has higher fuel level as well. So he just had the grip from the higher fuel level, and it wasn't like he was pushing the tyres to.
No, he's managing. Definitely, he managing. Yeah. But then at the end of the race,
but he did get fecked, which was lovely. He thought he had the third, and then with the pit strategy and the pit and the safety car, it completely screwed him over. I was like, brilliant. But yeah, no, Ferrari. I mean, that pit strategy should have worked. It just didn't. And
there's no way that. I'm sorry. There's no way Leclerc's pit strategy was going to work. Pitting that early for hards, and it's just like, what? Yeah,
I questioned it, but then. It sort of I could understand why they were on the hards, because if the hards could have lasted, but I think they were just dying at the end as well. In the same way, the softs, that's as Jenson Button kept going on about the aero track, such an aero track. And I was like, shut the fuck up. But yeah, like it is an aero track. And I think those hards just got chewed by the hardcore aero.
Yeah, I think it's I think Ferrari knew that they didn't have the race pace. They knew going into the race it was going to be tough. So I think they were trying to do something different.
But why can't they just say that? Why can't they say that? What is this big bravado with Ferrari?
Yeah. In the same way that Hamilton said he was just staying out to get a safety car. Maybe that's if they came out and they said, we stopped early to have fresher tyres earlier in the race, go conservative, and then hope for something later on to bring it back into play. But it was a bad strategy.
And talking about Ferrari, 3 engines, was it?
Well, it was the same because he came out here. He had an oil pressure issue, I think, in quali.
Yeah.
So it's still part of the internal combustion engine. Yeah. And then the thing just goes poof into a cloud of smoke, and then that's going to get clipped.
Flames.
And then and then that's that. There we are. You wanted stuff for the soundboard. There you are. It's it was just. Oh yeah, it's just like. Do you remember at the start of the season when Leclerc took an engine penalty in the second race?
Yeah, I did.
It's like it was that foreshadowing because I'd actually forgotten about that. But it's like, it's just that's not a good omen for any Ferrari customer team.
Yeah. Alpha or Haas.
Yeah. And it's like, Gunter just, when you saw that picture with people, he was just like, done. He was just like, he checked out.
And what happened to Hulk? Because he went as well. I can't remember. Did he?
He just dropped I think he got unlucky with the safety car when he boxed, but
yeah,
that Haas drops like backwards. A stone in.
Oh my God, it's so depressing to watch that car.
Yeah.
Sorry, it smells of arsenic.
And then, so the Alpine, talking about dropping like it's shit, the Alpines.
Well, to be fair, they did so much drop back. They dropped out because Ocon had I think
hydraulic.
Hydraulic.
Yeah,
and then unfortunately Gasly, who was actually doing pretty well, he was
flying up.
Yeah, and he became the latest victim of the Lance Stroll mating season. So it's just like, fucking hell.
I mean,
Stroll drove like an absolute dick.
Yeah,
and an immature, inexperienced one at that. It's like that's the kind of driving you'd expect from someone who's in their rookie season, not someone who's been in F1 since 2017, and he's not doing himself any favors. He's already costing Aston Martin P2 in the constructors because he's so shit and got so few points compared to his teammate Alonso, who's had a handful of podiums. Granted, Aston Martin are not as quick as they were at the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Stroll's honestly, man, he's just a fucking dildo.
I bet you enjoy being on this.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, this is the dirty podcast.
You say things that we're not allowed to say on Grid Talk.
No, but it is. He's a complete bell end, and you can't There's nothing. He is knob cheese. He is completely pointless and smells of it probably. There is literally no point him being there. But he's there because the big daddy is there, and that's the only reason he's there. And at what point, how should this work? I'm guessing you're just allowed to put in whatever driver you want, but is it getting to the point where actually you shouldn't be putting in dangerous drivers?
I don't think Stroll's dangerous, but he's...
Sorry, did you see him going into Gasly?
Well, to be fair, we've seen a lot worse moves at Silverstone.
Yeah.
Namely like Hamilton at Cops. But yeah, no, it's joking aside, it's just you do genuinely wonder how long it's going to be before Lance Stroll Senior goes, or Lawrence, whatever the fucking dad's
Lawrence.
Yeah, Lawrence of Arabia, for all I care.
Yeah.
It's just
the big Canadian oath.
So yeah, the fucking budget Barry Bond villain. It's just like
budget Bond villain. That's
He's just he just. I hope this season wakes up and goes, shit, we could have got P2 in the constructors and really been best of the rest. And if I wouldn't have had my fucking wet wipe of a son, and I'd have had the F2 champion in the car, who is there's a testament to the driver, maybe we could have got a bit more.
I mean, personal opinion, he still wouldn't have been there, even with Drugovich, because Drugovich ain't nothing special.
I know.
Throwing Abby, whatever her name is,
doesn't have a super license. Are you talking about the
person that they constantly talk about whenever Aston rolled out? Is it Abby?
They got Jess.
They've got Jess Hawkins on the books.
Jess Hawkins, yeah.
But
she ain't got a super license.
Right. Yeah. But literally, they just rolled her out every time they need a bit of diversity. Oh, here she is. But just put to be honest, put Mick Schumacher in there. I couldn't care less who they put in.
I'd rather they have Mick Schumacher in there, but that ain't gonna happen, is it? To be honest.
No. But officially it would have had. Yeah, they could have had it in theory because he is Merc driver, engine, blah blah blah. But I think that's going out the window with the Honda now. So there is a chance that Joe could go into there as the Honda.
Is
it Joe or Snowder? Sorry,
it's more like Snowder. You're flaming racist.
I couldn't remember where Honda was, not which race driver was where from.
It's Yuki Tsunoda who's got the Honda backing.
Tsunoda. He's got
and Iwasa as well. Side note: Williams have just released their liveries that they're using.
Yes, the new breaking news. I just saw that.
I've just seen it.
The new bold is bolder. A bolder.
Yeah.
There's a new livery. I don't even know which race it is. I couldn't work it out.
It's Singapore, Japan, and Qatar. It's been used for.
Okay, so it's 3 races.
Yeah, it's the start of the flyer race.
Yeah.
Is this the golf one?
No, it's the one. No, it's the competition one. There was like a competition.
The one I've just put in chat.
Yeah.
The Williams bolder than bold.
Yeah, bolder than bold. It was what it was going to be. Actually, I prefer the heritage
that's
car.
what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a golf livery, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got golf colours on it. Yeah, and you can see obviously got golf on the rear wing.
And on the nose cone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It looks a bit like a McLaren.
Well, yeah, it looks because of the golf livery they ran 2 years ago.
In 2021,
yeah. With the orange papaya on the side. Sorry, the orange on the side. No, I think it's very nice. I quite like the liveries this year.
Nice.
I quite like the special liveries of the Chrome and the Williams one.
It's becoming very IndyCar in that sense, where we're just getting a lot of special liveries, which I'm not necessarily against. It's quite nice. It's nice to have a bit of variety. And when you look back at shots of a race and you see that livery, like, oh, that's the race where Norris came second and had that great battle with Hamilton. It's very visceral. It just reminds you of stuff. It's just when you have those great liveries for races and then they do absolutely nothing in the races. That's what's
what, like Mercedes 2019 with the
no, because what they did was very memorable in that race. Is when you have things like Ricciardo being lapped in Monaco in the golf livery. It's just like, what a waste of a livery.
But Lando was on the podium with that livery. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
The problem with remembering Danny Rick and lapped in McLaren is that nobody remembers it because it happens so often.
Yeah,
this is true.
He get laps in quali.
I mean, he probably would. Yeah, well, we'll see that in the next weekend, won't we? Anyway, because it'll be like, oh no, he says only his first race. We'll have a load of that for the first. Oh yeah, we can't expect too much. Natalie Pinkham will be all, oh, nice to have you back, yay! That drive me potty as well.
Can we talk about McLaren now, please?
Yes.
Oh, we've held it out for so long.
Yay!
They were robbed. Well, Piastri was robbed.
Yeah. But on my driver ratings, Lando Norris becomes the the first person this year to get a score of 10 in a race.
Sorry. His drive was good, but it wasn't that good.
It wasn't a 10 out of 10.
He was. I think
no.
he was.
No way.
It would have been a 9.
Way.
It would have been a 9, but the defense of Hamilton was brilliant. The defense of Hamilton was brilliant.
Okay, well, what about the lack of defense on Verstappen, where he basically sat to the right of the track and said, "There you go, sir."
That is down to maturity, playing it there, knowing when to fight and when not to fight.
There's difference between knowing when to fight or not fight, and going to the corner, getting out of the car, bending down, spreading your arse cheeks, and saying, "Indy come."
Well,
Tom really enjoys being on this podcast.
Yeah, it's been about 18 months, and I've got a lot of.
He fought him into turn one, and he took the place. The qualifying was brilliant, and
he was sensational when he took.
And when
he did take the lead, that was great.
The way he defended from Hamilton and the consistency that he showed for the entire race to just manage that car and just not let it. I mean, obviously, he wasn't being challenged from Piastri, which is, that's another thing. But as well, and the only reason Piastri didn't get a 10 for me as well is because he wasn't really getting challenged from behind. If he'd have had what Norris had at the end, then I think he would have got a 10 for me as well. And I try and be impartial.
I mean, the thing is, he was 2.5 seconds up the road from Ferrari.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He was pulling away from a Ferrari. He's in his rookie year. I mean, it was an absolute phenomenal performance. And the thing is, it's not his fault he wasn't challenged. But the reason that I don't give 10 ratings very often is because, or certainly this year, is because nothing really ever happens to the degree that needs that. So basically, that they need to transcend the car and destroy the competition, and also have some kind of adversity to overcome, which is why I put Norris as a 10 on there. But I think I might have to downgrade it to a 9 because it probably is.
I think there is better drives. I think the end result is great. But they're the better
still
the
gets an
10.
A,
Sorry,
but I'll
the
downgrade it to a
10.
9.
The 10 would have been if he kept ahead of Verstappen.
If you won,
That would have been
won
the 10.
race, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
that would have been the 10.
I'll drop it down to a 9, but yeah, no
Sorry
one else
to
has got a
change
10
your
yet.
scores.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, the more I think about it, the more I think, do you know what? There's been other people that have performed to that level, and I haven't given them a 10, so that wouldn't be fair. So no, that's my rose tinted glasses coming in, but that is 2 9s in a row for Norris. So
yeah, I mean, is this the birth of McLaren, or is this just 2 lucky races?
let's see.
What's going on?
There's a lot of
It's not
similarities. A lot of similarities with Austria and Silverstone. They're not like carbon copy tracks or anything like that, but there's a lot of similar tracks.
A lot of fast
which
corners.
I think is a strength of what the new McLaren philosophy is. So let's see how they do in Hungary. If they're say, I don't know, top 6, then like comfortably the 3rd quickest car. So fifth and
Also,
4th because they'll be ahead of Perez. Then
is this that McLarens have stepped up, but everyone's fallen back?
I think it's a bit of both. I genuinely think it's a bit of both. I think they have definitely made a strong improvement and a big step up, but I think the Mercedes upgrade didn't work the way they expected. The Aston Martin upgrade didn't work the way they're expecting. Ferrari knew they were going to struggle this weekend. So I think it's a mixture of both. So that's what I mean. If in Hungary, a completely different type of track, if they are still up there fighting for 5th, 6th, 7th place, then I think you've got a strong case there for McLaren to be outscoring Aston Martin for the rest of the season. Whether they beat Aston Martin is a whole different ball game. But I think
the problem with McLaren is a lot of damage was done in the early season.
Yeah,
and they obviously dropped a lot of points.
Huge amount of points.
Well, if you look at their first race in Bahrain when Piastri had to retire because I think his steering wheel shit the bed or something, and then Lando had to box like something like 5 times or 6 times the hydraulic fluid.
I think.
And they were filling it up on the side. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was just like stop. He's already dead kind of thing.
And broke the record for the most different tyres fitted in a race in the entirety of Formula One history.
Yeah, and that's not a record you want to have.
No.
In a race that I don't think even had a safety.
But is this also, this is post Seidel, and now this is now Andreas
Stella.
Stella.
Not,
is this
not,
now
not,
Andreas?
Not Andrea Moda.
No, is this now Andrea?
Not Andrea Moda, no. We don't want Andrea Moda.
Is this now his car coming through and his team coming through now? I know Zach Brown's always the mouthpiece. Say
again, Tom?
And they binned off James Key.
They did bin off James Key, definitely, yeah.
And they split out there. So the technical.
Who's James Key? That was the
technical boss.
Yeah, he was technical director.
Okay.
He was at Toro Rosso before, I think, as well.
So I mean, there's obviously been
around the block a
bit of change, and
he was originally at Jordan,
changing it.
That's the root of the problem. Yeah.
And Zach's changing it, obviously, as Sierra, and he's a bit of a mouthpiece anyway.
Yeah. I think the technical
is that the right?
They're making a few changes technically, and I think it's all steps in the right direction. So
yeah.
But we can't forget, like, McLaren were probably the 4th best car in 2020 and got 3rd place. They were probably the 5th best car, maybe the 4th best car in 21 and got 4th. The 4th best car in 22 and got 5th. So they've generally been the 4th quickest car, and this just brings them back up to where they were.
But currently they're in 6th, aren't they?
But in a they're 5th now. They've overtaken Alpine.
Alpine, because Alpine shit the bed.
Yeah, but twice. It's no surprise to see McLaren as the 4th quickest car, because that's pretty much where they've been. This is just a track where they've been the 2nd quickest car due to track specifics, but over the season, if they end up the 4th quickest car. But end up finishing.
I don't think they will be 4th quickest car.
I think they are the 4th quickest car now.
But I don't think they'll end up being the 4th.
They won't be. They won't finish 4th, because if I'm looking at the standings now, they're 98 points behind Ferrari, and then an additional 14 points on top of that behind Aston Martin. So they won't finish. They won't finish in 4th, but I think they'll finish in 5th. But I think they will probably finish with the 4th quickest car on average. Mm-hmm. But like Tom said, the damage was done in those first 5 races. That's apart from, take Australia out, they had a handful of odd point scores all season. Mm-hmm. Then they had a big points haul, like 15 points or something in Australia. when both Alpines crashed out. Lol. And then they had this.
Yeah, the McLaren seems to be whenever Alpine are having a shit day, McLaren are taking the points, but it's never related. It's not as if it's a deliberate thing.
Mate, you take what you can get in F1, and if that leaves your competitor absolutely shit in the bed and then getting driven into by a rampant Canadian bell end, then you'll take the points. I feel quite strongly about Lance.
But I don't. The annoying thing is they took the points and they might not have catched Alpine had Alpine not shat the bed or been crashed into by knob cheese. But but they still would have been in the same positions. They still would have been third and fourth, second and fourth. Sorry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No matter what happens.
Oh God, I lost my train of thought. Now I was going to say something then.
Thank you.
I think
That's a good thing on a podcast. You've lost your train of thought. Well done.
It was something to do with the Alpines. Can't remember now.
The Alpines are shit. Get over it.
They are. Yeah, it's fine. Done dusted. Moving on.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
But just talking about the other British drivers. What was your thoughts on Hamilton and Russell this week?
I thought Russell raced pretty well. I think Hamilton was edging back towards him, and I reckon they'd have finished. I reckon they'd have finished nose to tail.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton would have finished behind Russell, but it would have been nose to tail. And then Mercedes...
What if it wasn't if there was no safety car?
Yeah, I reckon that's and Russell. I still think probably would have finished fourth. I don't think or fifth rather. I don't think it would have changed much. It just elevated Hamilton into a better position. But he would have. Yeah, he was catching. The overcut would have worked for him as well. He would have run those medium tires a little longer than he did as well. And then probably...
I thought Hamilton did a great drive this weekend.
He did do a good drive. No, it was no better than George's, but he just got the luck for once. And that's the name of the game, really. It's like it's so often it's gone against him. And for once,
it happened to Piastri this weekend. Sorry, my mum's just texted me.
Hi, Mum.
Well, to be fair, I did 2 back-to-back shows of Good Talk. Went out my parents, Mum and Dad were both out. Mum left me a leftover pork dinner, so I had that, and I've come back and I'm on my. So and to be fair, she's also done me a dozen Welsh cakes and a doggy bag.
What's a Welsh cake?
It's fucking banging, is what it is.
Good description there.
Yeah.
Thanks. I mean, what are they? Are they like sultana cakes or like?
What's a sultana cake?
I don't know. I've literally no
Are
idea.
You fucking making shit up now, Carl. No, so it's a Welsh cake. It's think of it. It's a bit like a flat scone. It's then got
Scots are flat, as far as I was aware. But
scones, you fucking dick.
No, scone. Go on.
No, a scone, not a scone, you posh bastard. So it's,
scone's the posh version. Scone's the common version.
No.
Yep, scone is the posh version. If you say scone, you're posh. So welcome to the posh class, Tom.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah.
You've been brought up proper.
Yeah, something like that. A Welsh cake is like a flat scone. It's got raisins through it, and it's then cooked on a hot griddle, sort of like either side.
Okay.
And then it's
I quite want one.
It's got a slightly cakey texture, and then you put a bit of powdered sugar on it. Oh man, that warm with cup of tea.
Powdered sugar.
Yeah, that warm.
What's that? It's that icing sugar.
So anyway, the Formula One podcast.
Yes,
just pre-review.
Icing sugar, powdered sugar. The stuff you pull up your nose, mate. Powdered sugar.
No. Other cakes and drugs are available. Moving swiftly on. What else do we want to talk about on the British Grand Prix? Aston Martin.
They're a bit nowhere.
We talked about them. I thought we talked about them. Shit and Albon's Alonso. No, Williams. Let's talk about Williams.
Yes, Williams.
Actually, another great British team.
And another scorer of a 9 grading from me as well.
I mean, Albon. Is he on fire or something? What is going on? Like, is he just in the right place? He's definitely not in the right car.
Either Logan Sargent is the worst driver in Formula One history, and that is a god of a car, or Albon is actually proving that Red Bull should never have dumped him off, which I did say at the time.
Albon is driving the tits off that car.
Albon would have done a better job in that car than Perez for the entire time.
Rest.
Let the let the bone go, doggo.
No,
Um,
never. Not until I see George in a sombrero.
Oh, well, I was thinking George Russell there. I was
George
like,
Russell,
why is
so
he going to be in
yeah.
a sombrero? Is he suddenly winning Mexico? Don't say that. He probably will now. No, like Albon, I think is a brilliant driver, but Albon is a bit like how I've got to think who moved into. Is it Sono? No, who? Oh, Gasly. It's a bit like Gasly when he moved over to AlphaTauri. It was just a better fit for him, and the team is a better fit. And I think that is slightly he's more comfortable. Remembering that Gasly got dumped from Red Bull and then suddenly ended up second on the podium or something. We even won, didn't he?
Yes,
he was second in Brazil 2019 and won Monza 2020.
Yeah,
Monza 20, the race that he's never won, but I'll let that lie.
But either way,
but do you know who should have won that race?
Norris.
Genuinely, Lance Stroll.
Oh yeah,
he was in a perfect position. He should have won that race, but Gasly won it because Stroll shit the bed.
Yeah, because that racing point was a good car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember when that happened, I remember saying, "Oh, great, Lance Stroll's going to luck into a win, brilliant." And
he didn't.
He didn't. No, because he did Stroll things and forgot where his brake pedal was.
But either way,
yeah,
I still think Albon. I don't think Albon going back into the Red Bull would be. I don't think he would be doing better than Perez in that Red Bull. I think that team is toxic. We've always talked about the Red Bull team being toxic, and I don't think Albon would have done any better. I think the Williams redesign with Foles at the front is an interesting and a very clever team that's there, and they're getting rid of a lot of the chaff as well and changing their team.
I think it's a good project. It's just whether he's got the patience because they need a lot of capital investment to be able to compete.
But I think it's there. I think it's there. I think the titles are there.
Well, no,
I think
they can't.
Advertisements.
That's the thing. Because of the budget cap, they can't spend it. They can't do the stuff that they need to do to become competitive again, which is why I think if he's got the patience, then great. But I don't think he's got the patience to sit around in a car that scores, decent point finishes every now and then for 5 years. He needs to be moving up the grid. I think he can probably stick it out. For
certainly not back into that Red Bull. Certainly not into that Red Bull.
He'd take it if you offered it. Without a doubt, he'd take it.
He would. Oh, he would. Wouldn't we all? I'd even drive next to Max Verstappen. But
I would fit in the car.
You could give it a try, mate.
You could sit on it. Straddle it.
Put it this way, if I ever did manage to get into the front, I could probably get a leg in. If I did, you wouldn't need the weight ballast.
We need to move the ballast around.
You've just been pushing it along like a glorified scooter, wouldn't you? Like holding onto the halo, pushing it along.
No, I'm less suited for F1, more suited for NASCAR.
Yeah. But even that's quite a tight squeeze for the frame because the doors don't open properly, do they?
Oh, shit,
Soft top.
Yeah, you get Lambo or something. You're getting one of those.
No, more like a Bentley. That's me.
Oh yeah, touring car. You get into a touring car. Subject to that frame.
Yeah, might not get out of it, but
yeah.
Moving on.
Right. What else?
Anyway, I still think Albon. Yes, he might get offered the Red Bull. I don't think he'll take it. I don't think he should take it. I think he'd be better waiting out for either a Aston drive and Alpine, an Aston drive, a new, whatever the new team is, Audi drive or a McLaren drive.
Audi's a good shout, actually. They'll be looking for somebody. And if they can't get Lando Norris, who will probably be top of their list, then I reckon Albon would probably be a good shout. Albon and Schumacher.
And Schumacher. The dream team, if they could get it, would be Albon and Lando.
Yeah, I think they want a German driver in there.
100% they're going to want a German driver. I don't think they're going to be able to drag Seb out of retirement. So I think, and
they're not going to
It's possible. They might actually.
It's the Hulk German? Did I mention that?
Yeah.
And they're not going to put the Hulk in there, are they? So
probably not. No. I mean, if he continues performing the way he is, then maybe.
But again, it's the right team for him. It's the right team for him being in Haas. He's not going to go anywhere else. No one.
I think he will if their race pace doesn't get any better. If he gets offered a works Audi drive and Haas has still got a car that can't drive more than 10 laps competitively.
But hang on, out the Hulk, if you weren't Gunter Steiner, out the Hulk and Schumacher, who would you pick?
Oh, you pick Schumacher because of the longevity. Because
precisely.
Yeah. But I said that about Haas, and they picked Hulkenberg over Schumacher. Yeah. They made that exact comparison.
Yeah,
because they wanted.
That's what I said. If you weren't,
they wanted consistency then, but Audi will want a German driver to push forward with. So I think unless another German driver comes through, which I don't think there will be anytime soon, Schumacher's definitely in a box seat there.
Right, talking about German drivers, let's do Dick of the Day.
Okay.
I don't know how that linked. All I can say is it's
on a segue.
I don't know, but it's 8:54 and I've got Love Island to watch.
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. You need to do Love Island, don't you? Okay, Dick of the Day. I don't know. You guys pick what I have a look. Stroll, yes. Stroll. 100% Stroll. Done. Right. Dusted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me put my bets on who Horrocks is saying. I'm actually going to go with Piastri because I actually thought he was. What?
I'm going with Piastri.
What? Because driver of the day?
Because it's his rookie season, and
he should not be there.
Yeah, and if you take into account the fact he didn't have,
and that's not the perfect car either.
Yeah, he didn't have the same front wing as Lando either. So I'm going Oscar Piastri, 100%.
Did you not? I thought he had the same win. I thought this time he did.
He had all the upgrades except for the new front wing, which Lando got this weekend. So Piastri had the car that Lando had in Austria. Lando got a front wing, which Piastri didn't have. Which, to be fair, we don't know if that's actually better or not.
No.
But they should both have all the parts in Hungary.
Tom,
driver there.
There we go.
I'm going with. I was always going to say Piastri, and I think his achievements this weekend have rather been overlooked given his teammates' achievements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He's done so well.
It's really unfortunate. And if it wasn't the British Grand Prix, what the fuck did I say like
Grand Prix?
Yeah, sorry. I just started dribbling then, to be honest. If it wasn't the British Grand Prix, then and Lando got that podium. If it would have been in Austria, if it would have been anywhere else, maybe not Spa because his mum is Belgian, and I know his family anyway. Maybe there, but not really because it's all about Max there. Yeah. If it would have been anywhere other than Spa, people would have been shitting rainbows about Piastri. And I think he's been almost hard done by to not have the recognition he deserves.
Well, you say that
fucking stellar drive this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But still, again, just which is to be expected given that he's a rookie against a seasoned performer, just a tenth of a second off his teammate. And that's
how many? Yeah, he had how many world champion behind him, and
an 8-time world champion. Sorry, 7-time world champion behind him.
He didn't. No, he was in front.
6-time world champion. Don't you mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 6 times.
Sorry, Massa.
Alonso, yeah.
Yeah, he had Alonso behind him. He had Leclerc behind him. Yeah, he was absolutely.
He had signs and
what
fought them off
really nice.
I
saw a video. I know you want to get to Love Island, so I'll make this quick. But I saw
3 minutes.
This video where
you could pause.
He was on the stage. Can't. He was on the stage in Silverstone where they do all the interviews and stuff afterwards, and it was absolutely packed. Like I
saw that.
Thousands and thousands of people all going, "Oh, Oscar Piastri!" It was just deafening, and they just weren't stopping. It's just like, oh, that's so nice for Oscar because he's hardly even known in Australia. Still, they still don't. They still oh, where's Ricciardo gone? Where's Ricciardo gone?
Bottas looks more Australian than Piastri. Yeah. Piastri looks European.
This is true.
Yeah.
Right. Carl wants to do Love Island, so I'm going to shut this down now.
Yeah.
Love you all.
Bye, everyone.
See you later.
Yeah.